I'm official. Everyone would stand for pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The review and the approval of minutes are recorded, and then we're moving on to the
So we have a few of our old policies on here. This first one, DJC, I know Brandon is not here. And when I did speak to him, he still was anticipating. So I don't know if we want to just, but hold off on that one so we can find out the final information about it. I know he was checking the numbers, waiting for that report that came in. I know it was in the preliminary states, but then I haven't heard anything more. So I left it on because I didn't feel that I could take it off.
I mean, it's probably safe, better safe to be sorry. Right?
Yeah, I think the same.
So just gonna table that.
He didn't say anything to you. Yeah, I didn't know he wasn't going to be here until either this morning or yesterday, but I had talked to him before. I said I'm anticipating that that's ready. He didn't make any changes in it. So, all right. So we'll wait on that one. All right. The next one is ACA final rule, Title IX policy and grievance procedure. This one is the policy that came back after school committee for another look. I'm going to open it on my computer. There was an addition of Jeff and by my mistake, I should not have crossed off Bill and I was thinking they weren't going to be part of that. So we need to edit to make sure we have 3 people as part of the process for the procedure.
So put Bill and Patty back?
We're going to keep all 3 of them. I'm going to undo it. Okay.
So now you're doing that then.
I just did it. Just now. No, Jeff is also going to be on it, so 3 people are going to be on it now.
All right.
More than merrier, because it is a big job to do. Yeah. All right, so thoughts about this at this point, and feeling it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's, what it's done.
Did it
Go for first reading or?
did go for first read.
Okay.
And then there was some, misunderstanding about the names.
Okay.
So it came back.
So we're just adding Jeff, that's the only
Yeah,
change.
that's the
Okay.
only change.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Good to go.
So that will go forward for a second read.
Right. That was tabled for Andrew. Okay, double checking a couple things.
So that's
Has he?
like two.
Already? Okay, good.
This, we are where we are.
All right, so you don't have to do another first read.
No, I asked that, but no,
No,
Okay.
it's not like it.
pass.
Perfect.
It'll be
So it's going for a second read then?
right.
Correct.
Official.
Kristen, on page 7, do you have to unstrike Mr. McCaffrey and Ms. Creasy?
Oh, thank you for that. Yes, there's 2 pages of that. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. I haven't missed the catch.
You don't need to do that. A moment. Okay, so then if we move on to JVN. So this was the job application criminal convictions policy. I just want you to know there weren't any formal changes to this at this time because we really didn't have a lot of time to really go deeper into just hearing some of the concerns about maybe it being too harsh. So we are planning on meeting again over this, but I don't know if there's anything more that you would want to add in terms of like harsh is one thing that I heard. I know that I did mention.
Well, I want
about
to reiterate that employees don't belong in it.
And I did say that too when we had time, but we just really, I think there's just not misunderstanding, but 2 different views about whether it should or shouldn't, and we haven't had time to go deeper into that.
Well, when are we gonna go deeper into it then?
Who's going deeper? This committee?
No.
Or others? that you're
Usually the
speaking with?
stakeholders, so it would be Kim or Jerry,
Okay.
Jeff was there, Lynn was, going to try to meet and,
Okay,
Bill. So we
But-
try to get everybody together to do
But
that.
we're stakeholders too.
Right,
As
so,
employees with contracts, we are
Hmm.
stakeholders. too.
right, so then my job is to go back and say, like you said, that there's some, of those laws that are mostly about
They're all about,
the,
none of them are about current employees.
right.
References have nothing to do with current employees.
Yep, so that was stuff that we did start to talk about, but we gotta figure out what language then does suffice.
Well, we also need
Do
to
you have
remember,
suggestions that?
well, I
you'd like me
suggest
to-
taking
okay.
it out. Just
Just eliminate it all.
eliminate employees from this policy.
Share that.
and leave it as new.
And leave it as
hires.
job applicants, and if you want to throw volunteers in there too.
Yeah.
But employees need to be out, because that would be, not policy, that would be negotiations.
That's true.
And
certainly when you're talking about misdemeanors, it's too much.
it's right, right.
Oh, a day's notice on a misdemeanor for, I think an employee is,
Running a stop
Craziness.
sign.
unless it has something directly related to the school department or
Children, maybe?
children or, something like that.
I think
A misdemeanor
that
that
did
has,
come up last time, right? That the
Yes, we
contract says something about work related, right?
Yeah, we have,
teacher's contract does,
Yeah,
the WISE
teacher's
does not, I don't believe.
Negotiations is the better term than.
this shouldn't be in.
24 hours that an employee has to notify the school department about, it used to be just a felony, now it says misdemeanor, which, on a Saturday afternoon, if you run a red light and you get pulled over, that's technically a misdemeanor. The fact that you would have to notify the school department within 24 hours or at all, it has nothing to do with school.
Correct.
Nobody was injured, nobody was hurt, has nothing to do with children, it's
That
you
comes
know.
under Nunya business.
correct.
So you're okay with felony, but not misdemeanor?
A felony, sure, yes,
Well,
you
just
know,
because
but
I don't
that-
have
but that still is a
negotiations.
contractual issue.
It
and
is.
Something in the contract and, in accordance with Rhode Island state law.
Well, and then I also brought up last time the whole, if you want to call travel of the policy, the provenance of it. When I looked back at the minutes, I mean, we first saw this December 2023 and we tabled it. I wasn't at the January meeting, but I don't see anything in the minutes that it came up in January and
Oh,
said.
correct. It's February 2024,
Oh, this
which says it was revised, not at this committee, it wasn't.
It was not
was
revised,
not.
and furthermore, it showed up, if the school committee tabled it in January, and I have all the minutes here, and then the February meeting, it was labeled as a first reading, but it was under the heading of second readings. So there were all these second readings. This one was here, said first reading, and then it passed as a second reading, which you've got a procedural issue there too. This shouldn't even be in place right now.
Correct.
So what, the original had nothing on there for employees? Because misdemeanors actually was in there before, I
Yes.
think. That was always in there. So I'm just,
Revived.
yeah, that's why I'm
New hires,
asking.
yeah,
That's why I'm
this is
asking.
correct. Right.
What's, so the difference was just in the employee
Mhm.
piece being added?
Yeah, and I don't have, the original from whatever year it was, 1997.
97. It was
So-
adopted in 97.
So I don't have what was adopted in 97, but we have some this new underlined stuff here from last December. And then, there are all these references to the general laws, which are just applying to new hires. Or, as I also pointed out last time, you have here job applicants, but it's more appropriate to say people applying for a job. Because by saying job applicants, I think I pointed out last time, yeah, I gotta think what lawyers might be thinking. There might be some way to twist that, to apply that to an employee, because at one point I was an applicant. Even though right now I'm not applying for a job, as this clearly is meant for people who are applying for a job, newly
applying for a job. Because in our union, where teachers maybe don't move around a lot, there's a lot of people moving classifications, moving around in our union. So do we want to call that an application? Because you have to put in a bid for a job, that would be considered an application,
And
even if I've been here for 22
yeah,
years.
that's true.
So,
You gotta,
fine-tune
you
some
gotta look
language.
at the semantics here.
Mhm. Yeah, and the revised February 15th, 2024, I couldn't find that anywhere.
What happened in August, do you have that date, right? August 13th. 2013.
Of 2013.
No, I don't have that one either.
That's
So,
on the bottom of it.
It's on the bottom of this.
Yeah.
I didn't go back that far.
I
I just went
didn't.
back in the last year and could not find
Okay. I just wanted to know what it was.
yeah, I
from the
just,
meetings.
I just went over what we did last year from December
Okay.
23rd, but,
Did you find it, us discussing it here last year?
we discussed it in December, we tabled it.
Yeah.
And I have all my notes from
Yeah,
that.
so never revised.
No,
And
it wasn't
voted on it.
revised.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
we discussed it in December 2023, we tabled
Mhm.
it. It went up to the school committee in January 2024, they tabled it. It came back in February labeled as first read under a column heading, I have it here,
And
but
you're
it's
stated
second
and
read.
revised, like it passed.
and it passed,
And
but it shouldn't
shouldn't
have
have.
because it was still a first read, because it had been tabled in January. And I would like, if possible here, to get the versions from July 28th, 1997 and August 13th, 2013.
Yeah, those are
I
available.
think I can get that. I think I downloaded all of them a long time when I first got on.
We have one.
You have it?
One binder, but I'm not
Okay.
sure she keeps, like, she might replace the 2013 one with the old
updated?
one. Yeah, so I don't know if I have the 1997 one.
Mm.
That seems
I
like-
wonder if
Probably
it's,
We
do.
disintegrate.
Some from
I do.
I know I see some.
I wonder if it's cached somewhere.
Yeah, it
I
could
think
be, but I know we do have a
think I have
binder.
it. I
A microfiche.
It's on microfiche.
Yeah.
Well, I might actually, because I've been on this ever since there was a policy, like going back to Lucille Modacosta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I know.
I've been on this
there with Lucille as well, so.
I might have hard copies somewhere.
I know, that is true. Darlene. I probably have a box somewhere.
I have a, probably in my basement
Yeah.
is the box.
So I guess the thing about misdemeanors completely is, I mean, are there misdemeanors that could be sort of like, I know not all misdemeanors, I know they're not as bad as a felony, but I mean, they can't, are they all under the same umbrella of not reporting? To make it such a blanket, like,
I would like to.
Right.
Andrew.
weird for sure. This is definitely an Andrew consultant too.
Well,
Working
That's,
progress.
yeah, I think we thought maybe that was happening already.
Yeah, we just did,
Okay.
wasn't
Okay.
just yet.
but we need to, I think today we can decide to separate employees out from people who are applying for a
Agreed.
new job here in the Warren Public Schools.
I agree.
We don't, employees, we need to deal with that separately and in the
Yeah, is
appropriate.
there anything in here about volunteers?
Yeah,
Yes, okay, good, because
You can-
volunteers should also be included.
So you
yeah.
want a policy for new hires and volunteers and separate one for employees?
Well, we don't need a policy for employees.
We have a
That's
contract.
A contract. We have a contract.
But am I mistaken? I keep going back to this, but I could be wrong. The contract only talks about work related,
Correct.
right? So it happens at work. Is that what that
Yes,
means?
it has to.
So
be.
what happens if there's something that happens outside of work?
A misdemeanor? Outside of
No,
that?
yeah.
Again, we don't know if misdemeanors are all the same. I don't know
I mean,
that. but
None of
like-
your business.
I think,
With our children.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the
It can't be
caution.
completely none of
Yeah.
your business.
no, I mean, I think anytime you do a policy, you gotta kind of think about what you're trying to policy, right? So I think, obviously, I can't imagine it's the intent to like track stop signs and traffic lights, although maybe, but I can't see that. It really has to be, at the spirit of anything, is to, there's somebody that does something on a weekend or a weekday or a weeknight or anytime that is either, I don't know enough to know if there's a misdemeanor that could be considered still problematic for being around children, or certainly a felony, and they don't tell us, right? So then what happens is we either have to catch it on the news, which oftentimes the news will put up, the worst picture of somebody and run the story. Or we have to catch it in the, police log. And if those are not done, and then we don't catch it there, then we have somebody in the classroom with children that shouldn't be, because it was a legitimate issue that was not told to us and reported to us. I have to believe that's the spirit of any of these recommendations for policy. It's not the traffic sign and the traffic light and the speeding ticket. It is the stuff that happens that could be a problem with our kids. Now, how we say that and to what extreme and what counts and doesn't count, or do we wait 3 years to negotiate a contract? What can we do to protect the kids for those incidences? I have to imagine that's what we're trying to figure out here, not the other stuff.
But that's not what the language
Yeah, but
says.
that's the whole thing. The
But then
wording
knowing
just
what we
says
agree we're trying to
misdemeanor.
accomplish, then we can try to.
And
work
then
towards that.
punishable up to termination of an employee if you don't report it within 1 business day.
That's-
And I
That's
don't,
That's
I
tight.
completely understand. I understand, I do.
So,
And I think that, I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with that.
Because I think last time Michelle pointed out, the whole reason we're discussing this again is because the way it was worded was too harsh and has already caused problems. So that's why it's in front of us again. And now's our opportunity to get the proper wording in there so we don't cause problems. And I brought up last time, somebody reports or someone gets reported, there's a paid administrative leave, and all of a sudden, this person is guilty in the court of public opinion. And a reputation is almost impossible thing to get back. And I've seen it too often with my members, and I'm sure Tracy has seen it with her members, that these people get pilloried, they become pariahs, and they did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And it's not right, because someone can make an allegation that suddenly, they lose their job, or they lose, the respect that they've had. And I've seen it too often, and in this day and age, it's like we have a modern day crucible going on with some of our little children that like to make things up.
And I just want to be clear, I completely agree with everything that you've said. Certainly everything, the harshness of it. There just has to be somewhere in between, don't tell us anything because it's none of our business, and what you just described that helps to catch some of those worst cases. There has to be something in between.
So do we want to work on it ourselves? Or do we just want to hand it over to Andrew?
It could be collaborative.
I think
Yeah.
it should be both, union representation and Andrew, Lynn,
Then all sit down in a group.
right. But you have to,
So Randy, well, first of all, is it worth trying to do some of that now? Or do we still need answers like about the misdemeanor
We
language?
still need answers, yeah.
And can we agree though, at least to separate employees out?
do a separate policy for employees altogether with different,
I saw the bill for it.
Well, these laws reference new applicants. They do not reference employees, so you've got to, I mean, I got a copy of the laws right here. Here's 12-2-18.1. Any person seeking employment with a private school or public school department who has not previously been employed by a private school or public school department in Rhode Island during the past 12 months shall undergo a national and state criminal background check to be initiated prior to or within 1 week of employment after receiving a conditional offer of employment, provided, however, that employees hired prior to August 1st, 2001, and or who have been continuously employed by a public school department in Rhode Island during the past 12 months shall be exempt from the requirements of this section and 16-2-18.2. B, the applicant shall apply to the Bureau of Criminal Identification, BCI, Department of Attorney General, State Police, or local police department where they reside for a national and state criminal records check Fingerprinting shall be required. Upon the discovery of any disqualifying information, the Bureau of Criminal Identification, State Police, or local police department will inform the applicant in writing of the nature of the disqualifying information, and without disclosing the nature of the disqualifying information, will notify the employer in writing that disqualifying information has been discovered. C, an employee against whom disqualifying information has been found may request that a copy of the criminal background report be sent to the employer, who shall make a judgment regarding the employment of the employee. That has to do with this newly hired person gets hired on condition of, like we hear at every school committee meeting, hired on condition of BCI. So the person gets hired, the BCI comes back and you're gone. That doesn't mean an employee that's been here 20 years. D, in those situations in which no disqualifying information has been found, the Bureau of Criminal Identification, State Police, or local police department shall inform the applicant and the employer in writing of this fact. E, for purposes of this section, disqualifying information means those offenses listed in 23-17-37, 11-37-8.1, 11-37-8.3, 11-9-1B, 11-9-1C, 11-9-1.3, and employment means those individuals.
Can you just give me the reference number on this one?
Yeah, it's
Again.
it's the 16-2-18.1.
Okay.
The two, we looked up,
Those are their-
I looked up the
Legal
ones that are right on here.
Yeah, okay.
And as I said last time, they all have to do with
New
people
employees.
who are applying to be employed. They need to get a background check. That's all that's there. So,
And is this this is specifically to school employees or all
yeah,
employees?
this is the Rhode Island general laws. This had to do with private and public schools.
It is specifically for
schools.
schools.
But I think we already addressed that too, because you could be here for 10 years. Something happens between you and a kid, doesn't mean you're immune because you've been employed.
Doesn't mean you're immune.
But this law does not address that.
Right.
You have included employees in this policy, and you've included legal references that don't apply to employees.
I think we should table that. I mean, say something.
Well, either way, I mean, it sounds like we're tabling
Yeah.
it, no matter what. It's the
Yeah.
point.
I think we just have to.
But I don't think anyone is completely comfortable about taking employees off the table and saying you're immune, right?
That's not what it's saying.
I don't think they're
It's
saying
just-
that.
No, we're just saying, we're just removing it from the policy because it's in the contracts already. It's in Rhode Island general law. So certainly if somebody went out and committed a crime, you have every right to have disciplinary action against them. That's not the question. Removing it from the policy because it doesn't coincide with the reference to law right here that you just read.
They don't,
And,
it doesn't support it.
right, and
No.
going back to your procedural issue from February, this should never have become a policy anyway, because it was tabled in January. It was labeled as a first read, but put under a second read column, and everything passed. And I know you've been trying to streamline things at these meetings, whereas in the past, they all used to, get read aloud, but maybe if there was a more deliberate slowdown, something like that would be caught. Like, hey, why does this say first read and it's hanging out under the second reads? And now, hey, now it's a policy, but it didn't even pass the proper procedure. So I don't know what you do about that.
Well, I don't think we're doing that anymore. That was when Anne was here and she had two different documents, those that were reviewed and kind of streamlined and updated. And so we're not necessarily in the position to do that anymore because she's caught us up with a lot of the stuff. So I don't anticipate that happening. But we could go back. I wasn't present for those meetings, but I know that she had two documents, right, with all the reviewed ones and stuff. So something could have gotten crossed or missed. I don't really
Right,
know.
well, however it happened
Right,
though,
yeah.
it was not, it should not have been passed and it should not currently be a policy.
Can we agree that employees
it- yeah,
does
it-
not fall under this policy though? Can we agree that these laws do not support employees being in this policy?
I would like confirmation of what a misdemeanor can and cannot be.
Or we need laws to back it up?
Correct. Which is what Lynn said she's gonna confer with.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Well, either way, that general law that's on here right now
Does
does
not
not
support it.
match this policy.
Right,
So
that's,
you need to have Andrew take a hard look at that,
that's,
because employees shouldn't be on there according to that law right there.
and
Just
this,
read,
this
so.
current document here, or whatever passed in February should be void because it
Correct.
shouldn't have been passed.
Correct.
So, I mean, you
This is
haven't,
not really going
Go
through the
back to
process.
7/28,
Where
1997.
the full school committee approved this twice.
And we all, like, you were there, you all know
We went
that,
through the
right? Like
process,
you all.
yeah.
I know now, I know right
Okay.
now.
I don't know, I don't wanna assume that that happened like that. I know that's what Darlene was saying.
well, it's,
Yeah.
all right.
I
it's
know,
in the
I couldn't find the
minutes.
paperwork.
I mean,
Yeah.
and
So if it's in the, that's what
I have it in the
Videos and
minutes.
agendas.
And we can go and watch it because everything is filmed and you can see what, I mean, most of us were there.
Yeah, that's what,
Um,
exactly.
but, and I'm not blaming anyone for having it happen. However, I mean, because I was sitting in the audience too,
Right.
and I could have leapt up and said, Robert's Rules, point of information, it says first read, but it's really a second read. And it got passed. So, but right now, this should be null and void because it wasn't
So we
properly.
should still be operating under whatever the old,
1997.
Yes.
the old,
Sorry.
Those types, that's all.
so that's
All
what
right,
we should
sorry.
be.
8:13.
That's why I was asking about that date, yeah, 8:13 would be the last,
13,
right?
correct.
Okay. All right, so we are,
I may have been on this committee then, to whatever.
Work in progress, pull it to work in progress, if they get.
I will have Andrew go over these
Yeah.
general laws.
So when he gets paid the big bucks, what?
Somebody gets in trouble because they didn't do it for 24 hours.
Very big books.
all right, and our next one, JBB transgender non-conforming. This was put on the agenda originally because we wanted to review it.
But then
And
Andrew reviewed it and it's fine. The way it's on the table, it's just, it is what it is.
That's great.
Okay,
So it's fine.
ready to go?
So go for a first read?
it doesn't have any
No, it
significant changes.
We're not
We
changing
brought it
anything.
up,
Yeah.
we had chat, we had Andrew look at it.
Perfect.
and
Well,
gave
that's
us a thumbs
easy.
up.
That is
Good.
All right, and then the last one you guys had seen before, the artificial intelligence, AI use, and requested that you just wanted some more time to review it. So,
I guess I skipped the fun stuff because they didn't want using AI when I was in school 2 years ago.
nope, that's true.
That much has changed in 2 years.
I know.
It's bad.
I was wondering if kids are gonna get away with it, though. I mean, I would have thought it.
Well,
I mean,
I mean, I'm sure it's hard to catch, although Jeff, you can answer this question. Turnitin.com now has an AI search. or an AI.
They do, yeah, they do, some other programs do, turn it in, about a year or two ago, Turn It In did come out with the modules they were working on to catch AI. How good it is, I don't have like firsthand experience with it. I know it does catch it because I've actually heard of specific examples in education where Turn It In has caught something that's been AI generated, so I know it works, but to what extent, I'm not sure. AI is one of those games that you constantly try to stay ahead of.
Here's a nightmare
So I just want
at
to,
the school level.
yeah, and so the only thing I'd say, and I mentioned this before too, is that it depends on the AI you're talking about, right? I don't think, and I think the AI we're talking about here is AI that students use to cheat
To
and not, and
plagiarize.
to plagiarize.
Okay.
AI in general, like, is the tool behind, iReady scores. It's the tool
Okay.
behind, Go Guardian, right? When Go Guardian catches kids that say that they want to harm themselves or others, it's AI that catches that in the background. When we do a Google search, the first 3 results in any Google search now are usually AI generated results. So even just Google searching things. There's times that we might put together a grant application and type in some ideas from AI to figure out how best to, approach a topic. So when you go to the doctor and they take your symptoms and run it through their programs, that's AI that's helping people like survive. So at the end of the day, AI isn't the problem. It's how kids use AI to cheat and pass along their own unique work. So as long as those policies don't, and this doesn't, but as long as that policy doesn't rule out no use of AI in the local school department, period, ever, we would actually set ourselves back significantly. Teachers use AI all the time to get lesson ideas that are awesome for
don't.
kids. Not all teachers.
So,
But so it's good. So there's a lot of good uses, right?
I
So
don't
just,
guess teachers pay teachers either.
It helps personalized learning as well. So, it matches, your level, let's say in math, so it matches your individual level with math, reading, and it gives you opportunities to perform at your level to get more practice. As we know, everyone's at a different level. So it really personalizes learning. I think we found it very helpful here.
so there's lots of benefits to it. We just don't want the kids to cheat. That's all.
Right, and,
That's all we're
It
asking.
teaches know the students' voices. Too,
Yes,
and
yeah.
Mhm.
and when adults who, are educated use it, they are using it to save time or they're using it deliberately with the proper intentions.
Right.
Like you
Right.
said,
Yeah.
create lessons or whatever. When kids are using it, they're using it for shortcuts
Mhm.
and for cheating.
Yep, that's correct.
Because they need to develop the proper critical thinking, problem solving, writing, whatever analysis, synthesis skills themselves before they can go on and use AI in a deliberate fashion.
Right, so last time when we were here, I believe under part 6, prohibited uses of AI, we added number 5, plagiarism.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I.
And then on the, which one was that? That was under section 6, prohibited uses, number 5, we added plagiarism onto that. And then there was also a request on the back page, second to last paragraph, under student section, the last paragraph, last line, is students should refrain, we changed that to shall refrain.
Yep.
From excessively relying on collaborative AI generated content. Should to shall. I think that was the only little minor tweaks we had last time.
And I had a couple too, that you might want to take a look at.
Okay.
So it's still under section 6, under prohibited uses of AI. Number 4 is difficult, I think, to manage. Only vetted and district approved AI tools can be used within the entire school district to actually know what tools people are using, because everything's like open source internet, like just Googling stuff. That would be unrealistic expectation. I think there's really no way to do that. Likewise, in number 7, roles and responsibilities under number 1, district administration, where it says this includes reviewing and approving, that kind of speaks to number 4 above. I don't think that's realistic. And also number 2, for staff and educators, I don't think they should need to seek approval for any AI tools that they use within the district, because they might stumble upon
Get
something.
rid of them all.
So do you want to remove 4?
Yeah, I would suggest removing 4. I would suggest.
All of 4.
All of 4.
Okay.
I'd suggest removing the second half of 1 in section 7, which this includes reviewing and approving. Keep the first, because it is the administration's responsibility to oversee the implementation of the policy. Remove the second sentence.
This includes reviewing.
Yeah, and then on staff and educators, remove that they need to seek approval anytime they come up with an idea to use AI in their own classrooms and in their own professional development and their own teaching and learning. We trust our staff to use the right tools and make decisions. that are in the best interest of kids. So I don't think they should have to check with us to see if it's okay.
But keep the first part of that. So
Yeah, the first
that-
part, staff must follow the district guidelines. I think
Yep.
that's good, but they
Okay,
don't need to seek approval and permission and
Okay.
so on. Yep.
so we'll bump plagiarism up to 4.
Yeah, yep. And I like how section 3 under students on the last page talks a lot about that cheating and plagiarism and, in the 4th bullet, it spells it out again. I still say keep it in number 4 in the prohibited uses, but I like how we also say cheating, copying the work, plagiarism. It's just reinforces. So
Absolutely,
I like it in 2 places. I said it in
absolutely.
one. That would be what I'd offer for suggestions.
Okay.
So I got everything that you mentioned, Jeff?
I was looking down, maybe,
Fast. So staff and
Yep,
educators.
that's perfect.
That's fine.
right on.
This one,
Yep.
and then strike 4.
Yeah.
The bullets you started talking about were fine.
They're fine, yeah, actually, they reinforce the plagiarism piece, which I think the more times we say that, the better. So that's good.
Absolutely. And I like the list too.
Yeah.
So, more ways of saying it better. So somebody can't try to sneak something.
If you think of anything else, that's good.
Number 5, transparency.
It's always used in education.
What's that?
Transparency.
Section 4.
Transparency, number 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you could be onto something like that. It might be like, I mean, we want to be transparent with the policy that we're using AI as an instructional tool, but not necessarily say
Sounds like you have
every time we need to do something that's.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Mhm.
So should we change the wording?
So,
Yeah, probably.
Okay, suggestions?
Well, under section 3, under definitions of AI, we define what AI means. So I don't know if just a statement there that says the district may utilize or does utilize tools that use AI to help enhance teaching and learning, or some statement there.
That's
would be defined.
Because that would include like iReady.
You name it, yeah.
Actually, yeah.
So the district will.
So strike
Strike 5.
5
Oh, all together?
and then go up to section 3 where the definition is
Elaborate it
and
there.
elaborate it there right on, yep. Section 3
Section 3,
definition, and at the end of there, say, something, I forget what I said, but the district utilizes AI to help enhance teaching and learning. Just to make sure everybody sees that it's part of our work.
Everyday
Yeah.
life.
Even when you're typing an email, and you know how sometimes
Right,
to
it's
suggest
doing
the
it right.
next word, they're using AI to suggest the next word. Darlene must use that.
No.
Oh my.
I hate it when that pops up.
I know.
Darling, because in my head, I'm saying, don't
I
talk
can
about
say it
that.
better than AI. Thank you very much.
I literally say to myself, don't tell me what to say. I'm gonna write this myself, even if I write the same word. I don't like it.
Don't try, it's like, remember Clippy, the little paper clip? Looks like you're trying to.
Yeah.
That's how I do
Let's see if this done. Anything? Need another minute to look it over, or are we good?
No, those were
Sounds
good catches though.
Yeah, they're all. All right. So this is ready to go forward for our first read?
Yeah.
I think so.
Nice.
All right. All right, so I'm just gonna summarize, make sure. We're tabling DJC, the one on the bidding requirement. ACA is going back to school committee for second read. GBN, we're going to table right now to get clarification from Andrew. JBB, we're keeping it added as is, it doesn't need to appear. Yep. And IJN will go forward for a first read for the AI.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll turn it back.
Is it void?
It's,
They have no new business.
No,
it should be.
void.
So,
That's the question.
Question.
Or do I wait for
GBN,
public comment?
yeah, wait for public comment. But I already, I did point
Yeah, I
out
know.
it should be void.
Oh,
The
okay.
section on employees.
Yes.
Everything, just wait.
Well,
I've
that-
noted that.
Yeah, it should be, I mean, we should revert back to whatever that was, August 2013. That's the policy that should be in effect.
So
Because,
when we come back, that's the one that you wanna edit, correct?
well,
Is that
we
what you're
want to,
saying?
I think we all want to see
See it.
the, you know, evolution or devolution, or whatever, of this policy.
Okay,
And, but since that our current document was not properly passed back in February,
Should be no.
the policy in place should be the one dated 8/13/13,
Correct.
Not this one.
not that.
This
Whatever,
one never was
whatever
passed.
8/13/13 says is the one that should be in place.
yeah,
So they,
So,
they didn't pass it
so
correctly,
listen,
though.
if we
Never
didn't
went.
pass it right the first time, it
Doesn't
can't be
count.
effective, guys. It's not effective. It was never passed by full committee. Two of us can't make a decision. It needs to be full committee.
And it needs to be.
In other words,
we
when
need to
it
have a
went
first
to the
read.
full committee, once we passed it, thinking it was thinking it was a second read, it never got a second read.
Right.
So it's not an effective policy at this point.
Right.
So this policy is off, is not tabled, it's gone.
But I wonder if it has to go on this month's agenda
To
to revoke the policy because of that.
Probably,
if we do that, but we still have to go back, when we come back next month,
yeah.
we bring up the August 13.
yeah, right,
Yeah,
that's
we
why I just
Yeah.
said that.
All right, but nobody else everybody was sitting here saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I wanted to make it clear.
But that's,
Okay.
yes, at the next school committee meeting, that should be made, you know, that should be noted, absolutely.
Okay, but you're not gonna do anything with the 2013 policy till we take a look at it, right?
Right.
At school committee level.
It's,
Yeah,
it should
just-
be already in effect and then we
Yes,
bring it back
so
here. to
Bring it back
revise
here
it.
to
And then
review, revise. and
build
update.
from there.
Correct.
Come to a common ground with everybody of what we want.
Yeah, and have Andrew Honey's check out that 16 dash, whatever number that was.
Yeah.
On the state
He
law.
looks at all of them too.
Yeah,
so-
I know, well.
Okay. All right, so turn it back.
Okay, we have no business, new business, because I think old business was still be new business. So public comment.
I would just suggest though that maybe in the future, when you get these legal references, you get copies of them. Because when I looked them up, I'm like, it's totally irrelevant to that policy, except for the part about new hires. And you need to get those things so you know what you're looking at. And have, whether it's a contractual section, get that section, or it's a legal section, get that section. And then the other thought is, like the school committee, maybe there should be public comment before also. You discuss these things and vote on them to get input from the public, because it's not till after the fact. Like in the school committee, you have it twice,
Right.
so it gives people an opportunity to express an opinion on something.
Anybody else?
Everybody else?
Good.
Okay.
Anybody over there? No?
So next meeting is January 7th. Tuesday,
Isn't that early in January?
2025. Come back, it's like the Tuesday, or no, was it? We,
Thursday.
Thursday, so that was like one of
It's
those.
the following Tuesday.
All right.
2025.
One point of order, are we keeping these ourselves or are you?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll take them back.
give them back.
Don't trust me.
No, me.
That would be, that would not be good.
Lunch at the school. Lunch is-
Thank you.
Did you adjourn?
Somewhere.
Yes, you did.
This is on.
You know what?
I was born.
I hate that it's this dark.